This video is sponsored by my friends at Skillshare. When I think about my experience with burnout, waves of emotions pour over me. Sometimes it's frustration or guilt. Other times it's fear. And there's nothing more demotivating than living in fear. So if you humor me for a second, I'd like to share with you some things that I'm doing to help me find motivation even when I have none. And here's a bit of a secret for you. Well, it's not really a secret. I just like the way that phrase sounds. It all starts with dealing with your fears. To get motivated, you need to deal with your fear or fears if you have more than one. And the best way to do this that I've found is to start by naming your fears, so they're out in the open, and then begin to question them. Asking things such as, why am I afraid of that happening? And what are the chances that would really happen? See, one of my biggest fears that has kept me unmotivated is the fear of burning out again. If you haven't seen my last couple of videos, just to catch you up really quick, I recently come to terms with my relationship with toxic productivity and the impact it's had on me. And I've committed myself to running in the opposite direction, taking the proper steps and making the necessary adjustments so I don't end up back where I don't want to be. And that's exactly how I answered those two questions I just shared with you when I initially worked through this exercise myself in private. So again, I truly want to encourage you to name your fears so they're out in the open, begin to question them, but also take a look at what your fears may be telling you about the research you need to do, the gaps you need to fill in your life, the habits you might need to change, and the risk management strategies, for lack of a better term, that you need to put into place. Unpack your values conflict. Your values are what's important to you in life. And I've preached this message for years now. But if you find yourself having values conflict, it means that there are two or more values that are important to you, but you feel like you can't satisfy those values in a particular situation. The situation causes you to feel conflicted and pulled in different directions as you try to figure out what's important to you. Now, for me, my experience aligns perfectly with this notion because not that long ago, I remember looking at my list of core values and feeling conflicted and torn. It felt like many things that were important to me were slipping lower and lower on that list to the point where sometimes it felt like the things that were important to me were no longer on that list. And that's where I knew something had to change. So I unpacked my values and acknowledged the internal conflict I was experiencing by really digging deep into why I felt the way I did, and then getting super clear on what I actually wanted. I reevaluated and realigned with my core values for starters. And if you need help with your values, I have a core values worksheet on my website that you can download at ronaldlbanks.com/values. But I also started journaling again, which is something else that I lost sight of for a little bit there as well. And that's been helping a ton. Expose yourself. Now, exposing myself is an experiment that I've been toying with for the last couple of months. And I'm really enjoying the benefits of it. And I'm quite surprised by how well it's working also. Now, what do I mean by exposing myself or suggesting that you expose yourself? Well, all this means is exposing yourself to other types of creative activities or to learning new skills or to other people that you can pull inspiration and motivation from. Now, something you don't know about me is that other than making YouTube videos, writing poetry, and talking, I have a growing interest in photography and a long-standing interest in design and interior design. I'm one of those people who can watch a home renovation series without blinking. And actually, my wife teases me from time to time about how excited I was to design our wedding and how excited I am now to design our son's nursery. So if you're feeling unmotivated yourself, I want to encourage you to try exposing yourself to other interests you have outside of your normal thing or to new experiences altogether, which is the perfect time to mention today's video sponsor, Skillshare. If you don't know, Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for both creative and curious people. Now, the reason I like Skillshare and personally use them is because it's a great place to learn. Unlike other video streaming platforms, the content here feels more structured and easy to follow. I've used Skillshare to brush up on my poetry as an example and improve my creative writing and storytelling. I've also used it to improve my skills with content creating and developing a deeper connection with you through the videos I make. Because even though I've been making videos for almost 7 years now, there are still things I feel I can learn. Like this class I recently watched by Heinz titled Speak Your Truth, Mindful Content Creating for YouTube. And that's just scratching the surface. I mean, if you want to learn about business tactics and strategies for growth, there's classes for that. Building habits and becoming more aware in your personal life, there's classes for that. Or if you're interested in exploring knitting 101, like my wife currently is, there's classes for that as well. So again, if you're feeling unmotivated and are taking my advice to expose yourself to other creative activities and to learning new skills, then Skillshare is a great opportunity to do that. And since they're sponsoring today's video and have been a supporter of this channel for a long time now, they're giving the first 1,000 people to use my link in the description below a 1-month free trial of Skillshare Premium. So check them out and let me know what classes you explore in the comments. Permission to rest. I mentioned at the beginning of this conversation that whenever I think about my experience with burnout, waves of emotions pour over me. And it's true. Burnout is not fun. Feeling trapped in a relationship with toxic productivity definitely isn't fun. And both of these things at times have drained my motivation. Now, if you can relate to this, I'd love for you to share your story with me. But a major turning point for me was when I gave myself permission to rest. I don't understand why, but hustle and productivity are such huge cultural expectations that can be difficult to navigate and develop your own perspective around. But it's important to remember that we're not machines. The human body isn't meant to function from a place of restlessness. As a matter of fact, as I'm thinking about this and sharing this with you, I remember a poem that I wrote years ago titled, "It's Okay to Be Human." And I'm sure that video is still here on this YouTube channel if you care to scroll back far enough. But I want to pass that message on to you from a place of love. It's okay to be human, and rest is important. It's needed to feel rejuvenated and honestly motivated as well. Make space for creativity. I believe that we are all born creative. We are born with wild imaginations and an insatiable desire to try. But when we reach a certain age, aka adulthood, we start to believe that creativity is binary. Either we've got it or we don't. And this belief, if you can picture this for a second, is poking holes in our bubble of motivation, curiosity, and in the fearlessness we once had when it comes to being open to possibilities. So when I say make space for creativity, I'm really saying to make space for curiosity, for possibility, for opportunity. And the best way that I know how to do that, that would give you the best results, is through decluttering. Not just the clothes in your closet that you no longer wear, but in your life in general, in your schedule, in your mental space, and your priorities. And one of my favorite questions to think about is, what is the likely outcome if I make the current situation I'm in a priority? And what is the outcome if I don't make it a priority? This has always brought me a ton of clarity, and I highly want to encourage you to check it out. Now, if you need help, I have a priorities worksheet that you can download. Just go to ronaldlbanks.com/priorities. But hey, at the end of the day, the takeaway that I want you to walk away with is this. As long as you deal with your fears, rest when you need it, and expose yourself, you'll start to feel motivated and rejuvenated in no time. And I'm a living testament to show you that. Keep learning with this video here, keep growing, and always remember to stay true to you. Peace.